You know what that is? Discipline. Selfish.
No joke. We're legitimate.
Let's fucking do this. Then do it. Do it 100% because I'm trying to.
We recognize that we are limitless.
You gotta be a champion to become a champion, right? Winning is a habit because we create habits that lead to good execution and success.
Buonasera a tutti. Buenos tardes a todos. Bonsoir a trois. Guten Abend alla. I don't know. Good evening, everyone. I'm Coach Mike Bianca of San Diego Dynasty. And next to me on the screen is Coach Ryan Gray of Red Legion. And this is the Coach's Show, the best darn live paintball podcast in the world on Mondays, and your source for high-level insight into the sport of paintball. It certainly is not where you come to learn Italian, Spanish, French, or German, much less English, I guess. But hey, try new things. Tonight, we thought we'd dive into some basics for you all out there in podcast land and give you our top 5, 6, 7 team and individual drills that you should be doing when you have the opportunity. These are fundamental, these are basically foundational type drills. And we'll give you the lowdown on how to do the drill and the why behind it. Now, some of you have probably heard of these drills, but we want to make sure you're doing them correctly. So we're going to get into that as well. Be sure to sound off in the comments and let us know your favorite drills and why you like them. Tonight's show is brought to you by Max Sportswear, the leader in custom paintball gear. Give Max a call. He'll have a package that works for you and your team. You can count on it. And BKI Paintball, bringing you the best knowledge in paintball on and off the field. Sign up and become a member today. Don't forget to sign up for the Coaches Clinic that Ryan and I will be hosting at the Garland, Texas event on September 11th from 10 a.m. to noon. It will be at the Meet Me at the 50 beverage tent, a good place. We'll be discussing overall game management, how to run team meetings, how to analyze data, line calling, play calling, clock management, and a lot more. Registration is now open. I'm sure Ryan has it in the link somewhere down below. All right, man, here we go. We're off tonight. Drills. You're exhausted. You just came from a clinic. And by the way, I'm wearing this and didn't Team USA have their first practice this weekend? So in honor of them, I'm wearing my Team USA jersey.
They did, yeah. Looked like they had a really good time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I came from a clinic this weekend. So we had kind of 3 things going on out there at Tiki's Paintball Park. We did a clinic on Saturday. We had a kind of a divisional tryout on Sunday. And we also did a kind of a one-on-one coaches thing. We had a gentleman from Miami, Gabe, who came up and spent the weekend with Max and I, and he actually stayed at the house with me. So we got a lot of time together. Had a bunch of really nice conversations with him and talked a lot about coaching methodology and mentality. And, he's a divisional coach. So had a lot of the divisional coach problems, hey, I can't get players to do this. And it's tough, right? When players are paying to participate, it's always a little more challenging. We spent a lot of time kind of one of the evenings talking about purpose, right? If your whole team doesn't have kind of a singular purpose, then you're always going to have struggles. You're going to have
100%.
So,
yeah.
We talk about like-mindedness and goals. I mean, you and I think beat that up quite a bit. So, yeah, but it was I had the pleasure of getting up at 3:15 this morning to catch a flight out of Tampa so I could get here and do a little work and then prepare for the show. So, yeah, I'm operating at about 40%, but I'm totally into this. I'm totally into what we're talking about tonight. So you and I, like, it's talking in the green room. So just so everybody knows, like, Mike and I had no idea what drills each other were going to pick. Right. And it's funny because we're going to show you guys quite a lot about running and shooting. Like running and gunning is such a foundational skill. If you can run and gun well, your stationary shooting will be significantly better, right? 100%. So if you're not spending a lot of time running and gunning, you need to. And we're going to show you a bunch of ways to do that tonight. So, Trevor Lawson asks, have you ever had to coach someone back from an injury? Yeah, absolutely. absolutely. In lots of different sports that I've coached, for sure. I've helped guys come back from back injury. The biggest thing with back injury, I will tell you, is patience. Patience. Right. There's not a lot you can do, to be honest. If you're doing PT and you're doing everything that your doctor has prescribed you to do, doing heat. I know ice used to be a thing back in the day. It's really more about heat now to try to warm the blood around it and get all those red blood cells around it as much as possible. So if you're doing all of those things, just be really patient. You come back too early from an injury like that, you could be done for the rest of your life and have real problems. So, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I too have coached players back from injuries, specifically ankle injuries, knee injuries, etc. And if you're not familiar with, you have knee injuries and you're not familiar with knees over toes, you need to be looking into that.
Big deal.
Yep. Also, the gentleman who actually came up with it, the medical professional who came up with icing and etc. I believe what the term is, rice or whatever.
Yep.
But he has now come out and he says I was all wrong because we need blood there. Right? You need the red blood cells there to start the healing process. And if you ice it, you're slowing that process down. So just something to think about.
Yeah, for sure. And it's injury is always tough, but the best thing, obviously, we're not doctors. Pay attention to your medical professionals.
100%.
And I always tell people, find a good PT like that, like your PT person. And we're so blessed at our gym, we have a PT person who has her clinic there. That's so awesome. Like when I have little things that are bothering me, I go see her. And then she tells me everything that I need to be doing. And she's fantastic. So find a local PT who can help. What's up, Mark Johnson?
Yeah, all right.
He's probably getting ready to head overseas.
Oh, that's right. Team USA. I'm looking forward to, what is that? That's August.
Coming at you.
Coming at you. So lots of things going on with that. Huge element of Dynasty is going to be over in Europe as well for that event. So I'm pretty excited about that. But also Mark McMaster asks, have you ever had to coach someone back who what does it say? Have you ever had to coach someone who came back from a year or more? Yes.
Many times.
Many times. And, and it's funny. A lot of it is like riding a bike. However, if you learned wrong the first time, it can be a little bit longer process. So, you've heard us talk about that here on the show several times, that it takes, 3 weeks to create a bad habit and it takes 3 months to change it. So,
yeah,
as you can imagine.
Yeah, a lot. And Mark, it seems like maybe you are coming back from something. It seems like those are your questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's, I will tell you, like the best way to get back in is jump in with both feet.
100%.
Jump in with both feet. Yeah. Get back in, find your local field that has a cool arena that you can train in and get to work. It's like, if you want it, you can be gone 3-4 years from this game and come back and still play at a really high level. You just have to work really hard.
He plays in the woods. That probably explains the injuries.
Yeah, if you play in the woods, it's still the same thing. If you want to be good,
that's right. Like 100%.
You want to be good at anything, you got to practice. So
100%.
Work really hard.
That's what Carnegie said, right? How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. So,
right.
But it was funny. I did want to comment on that. So I sent Ryan an email of, hey, here's some drills and ideas that I have that we should probably talk about. And in the green room, it was funny because we were both emphasizing a lot of the same things, even though some of the drills were different. And it is fascinating to see, that Legion and Dynasty and a lot of the top teams, we all kind of train very similarly. Maybe not as, and I make a joke, everyone relax, but I always say not as Soviet as the Russians, but because they're so serious about it. And
he means so disciplined.
I mean, disciplined is what I mean. When I say Soviet, I mean disciplined, right? So, get after it. So, but so tonight I'm really excited about, you and I get to talk about something that we love to do, and that's to grow players. One of my favorite things to do is to get to the local field and help the teams that are there. And if I see people, I love to give advice if it's asked. So, tonight's going to be fun.
Yeah, so let's kind of talk about methodology and sort of mentality a little bit. So when you start talking about drills, especially at the local paintball fields, when teams are getting ready to practice, you start talking about drills, you hear a lot of like oohs and uhs, and I don't really want to do that. just so everybody understands the difference between recreational paintball that's happening at a rental field in the woods and what you're doing on the airball fields. If you're not doing drills and you're not intentional about the way you're training, there is nothing different. There's nothing different. Your games just play a little faster and you shoot a little more paint. So if you are playing recreational paintball, you're really comfortable with that and you're comfortable with where you are, this episode may not be for you. It may not be for you. Like, this is for players and teams who want to get better. They want to drill. If you look at the way we train, we shoot at each other about half of the time, but it's in a drill setting. The other half of the time that we're not doing team training is all shooting at targets. Mm-hmm. It's shooting targets. And when I say we, I mean, like, Justin Rabikoff this weekend, I get there on Friday afternoon, we go to the field. We're setting up everything for the next day. Eddie, JMO, and J-Rab all come out, and they literally ran drills shooting targets for the hour and a half that we were out there. So you have to run drills. You have to. And they don't always have to be with somebody else. You can run a lot. Even some of the drills we're going to show you, you can run these drills by yourself. You don't have to have anybody else. You can do them by yourself. So I think,
I
was just going to say, you got to do drills.
Yeah. Okay. Because I want to touch back on you hit on such an important aspect, the mentality, right? You've got to there has to be intent. If you go to practice, there must be intent. If you're one of those teams that looking to improve your game, have intent, have an agenda, have a plan. Don't just show up in practice and say, okay, what do we need to do today? Have a plan. Talk about it. Even if it's to watch tape or whatever, maybe you set up a day where you're going to go out there. One of your best friends is a camera, a video camera where you can video things. You can go back and study tape. But really, it's important to have an intent. So if you've got a team and you're playing events and you're struggling with closing, well, okay, there's several closing drills we can start working on. Maybe your off the break shooting is not that great. Okay, well, our percentages were trash, but we were getting smoked on the break. Okay, well, here are some ways we can improve these things. These are the types of things you need to be thinking about as a whole, as a coach and as a team, what from a team perspective and from an individual perspective, right? Because from an individual perspective, if you've got so many good gunfighters and so many laners, imagine if everybody was up on the same level. If we could bring our top 3 laners and our bottom 3 laners, we bring those bottom 3 laners up to the top 3 level. I mean, all you're doing is force multiplying. It's incredible. It makes sense. It's math, right? So we would want to improve percentages and statistics. And the way you do that is you drill.
Yeah, Christian says from In the Pits podcast says, got to not just do them, but be detailed in your approach. Be detailed in your approach. Keep track of your stats, how many times you hit the snap or the lane. Yeah, so all of those things that you're talking about, I'm certainly going to include that in every drill I show you. How to create a KPI, like what's an appropriate number for me to hit this. Once you hit it, raise it. Raise it, right? So you should always have like, what is our benchmark number I want to get to, right? And then how do I measure whether or not I'm successful? That's important. And then create a couple of elements. There should be a time element. There should be number of times you hit the target element. Mm-hmm. And there should be a number of times you make it safe element if it's a running and shooting drill.
Bingo.
So there's 3 different things you can track there where you can find little successes as you go. Maybe you don't hit the target as many times as you want in your to get to your bottom KPI, but you make it safe more times than you thought you would. Mm-hmm. You can celebrate that little success.
Right.
So go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the things we'll talk about later when I talk to my drills is small wins, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want to sit there and say, oh, I was terrible at this, and then that just takes over the rest of the day. Understand why, understand and find the process to make it better. And then, hey, you did this really well, So now if we can fix this one element, right? So that's the point of the KPIs, right? It gives you a goal to work towards. You're not going to be hitting 100% on your running gun every time or the first time even. So, right. So we want to grow. It takes time. It's a perishable skill set. So it's something that has to be constantly revisited. A lot of you out there think that once, these pros, oh, they're such good snap shooters or such laners, this, that. Well, why do you think they are? It's because they take the time to constantly revisit and do these KPIs for themselves.
They work really hard.
Yeah.
That's how they stay good.
Right.
So let's answer this one really quick. Paintball Game says, if you each had to pick a singular aspect to focus on for a local divisional team, what would it be? What are the D3, D4, D5 teams mostly lacking? We're going to show you. You're going to catch. There's a theme you're going to catch tonight. Again, Mike and I didn't plan it that way.
Right.
It just so happens we both think this is critically important. So I think you're going to catch a theme tonight. And that's what you need to be working on.
Bingo.
So, yeah.
Did we want to start with our team drills or individual drills? How do we want to go about it?
Hang on. I'm reading Kristen's question really quick. That being said, you guys are probably well versed in what those stats look like. Care to share what realistic good goals for this for some of these drills? Let's say snapping 10 times 30 feet away. Of course.
Yeah. We'll get into all of that. Yeah.
We're going to include like, hey, if you're this level, maybe it's this. If you're this level, maybe it's this, right? But I would tell you, Christian, the easiest way to figure that out is do it. See how many times you hit it, and then once you have here's where I am today, then create your own KPIs and benchmarks around that number, right? So what do you think? And I'll tell you what our goal is we want people to improve by 20% per skill a month. We want 20% improvement on all 7 of our KPI categories with Red Legion. We want 20% growth a month.
Wow. That's impressive.
But think about, sometimes that could be a really small number.
Of course.
Be a really small number.
20%
right?
could be a very small number, like two to 3 hits, right? So
totally.
But still.
So our expectation is 20% a month. I don't think we play a lot of paintball. We practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Not everybody can do that, right? So you have to be reasonable and responsible in your goal setting, right? It has to be, we talked about this at the BKI clinic we did down in Houston. It has to be attainable. Your goal has to be attainable. If
realistic.
It's not attainable, you will give up.
That's right.
You will give up. So it has to be realistic. And to me, the easiest way to do that is run the drill. And then maybe you say, for me, I think I can improve by 5% in 2 weeks, right? Because I have this amount of time to invest in the skill. I think I can improve by 5%. So be realistic.
Yeah, 100%. I do want to answer this real quick from Joey Konopinski. I always felt our drill days in D3 were so inefficient, just too much downtime between sets. You know how you fix that? Again, intent, right? Agenda, have a plan, roll up, knowing what we're going to do, print it out, write it out, send it to your team the night before or 3 days before, or the week before. Hey, get input and then stick to the agenda, right?
Yeah, we literally, our guys take 5-minute water breaks. And when I say it's 5 minutes, I mean, literally Max sets a timer, or if it's just me there, I set a timer. Yeah. It's 5 minutes. You get 5 minutes, get water, come back out with your pods. We're ready to go again.
Now,
and our goal is to keep their heart rate above 120. So we can't let them rest too long. Otherwise, we got to ramp them back up again.
Right.
We want to stay between 120 and 150 the whole time.
Now, see, that's a professional level thing right there. That's just outstanding. Not every team. Now, that Ryan and I are not saying that D5, D4, D3, D2 teams even need to have KPIs to that level or that type of training method. However, it shows you how serious Red Legion takes it. So there's so much you can do. And that's why we're barely going to scratch the surface tonight.
Yeah. So again, you guys hear us talk about BKI all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally going through the database right now. I'm about 80% through it. There's hundreds of drills on BKI, and there are so many good ones. Many good ones. hundreds. We're going to give you 10 tonight.
Yes.
There's hundreds.
So I saw someone who said they wanted to start with the individual drills first.
Okay.
So we can hop right into that. So I sent Ryan a couple of drills on this front. And again, I'm one of those people who is a foundational trainer, right? So I like to build upon things. And I wanted to start with something very simplistic, right? Something basic that you can do by yourself with a target if necessary. And so one of the first drills is a snap shooting drill from an individual perspective. And I call it the Quadrant drill. Now, the Quadrant drill on almost any bunker on the field, the majority of them, there's at least 4 different positions that you can snap out from, right? There's going to be what we would call, high right, low right, high left, low left. So that's a quadrant, quad 4 positions, right? Everyone tracking. Okay, good deal. So whether it's an Aztec, a Dorito, a can, a towel, it doesn't matter, right? There's high right, high left, low left. So the quadrant drill is you set up a target, and you can do this. Your target can be as big, as small, round, square, doesn't matter. It can be a pod. It doesn't matter. That's one of the KPIs you can shift, right? We can start with a large pie plate if you wanted, a 12-inch pie plate, put it 25 feet in front of you, whatever you want to do. But long story short, you will snap out 3 times high right, 3 times low right, 3 times high left, 3 times low left. 12 shots, right? The goal is a perfect run. 12 shots, 12 impacts. That's the goal. If you snap out the first time you miss that shot, start over. So that's one of the ways you can measure yourself. How many rotations does it? How many times did you have to start over? How many times did you run it perfectly or flawlessly? So there's so many different ways to use this. Now, what I also recommend is if you have a partner there, or if you can set up a camera, you go ahead and set that camera up so you can review tape. How much are you exposing yourself? Are you doing the slide? Are you doing the rollout? And we'll talk about that later on the different, is your elbow leading, right? Are you leading with your head? Are you bending your barrel back in and still leaving your head out, right? So all these different aspects of the snap can be done in this drill, and it can be broken down. And it really exposes players actually too, because understanding biomechanics in a bunker, right? Bunker positioning is very important. And we can get into that if we want to. But knowing where our center of gravity is, where our weight needs to shift, how we need to transition from this quadrant to that quadrant. So I wanted to start with the quadrant drill. Ryan, any questions on that one?
How far is the target?
It can be any distance you need it to be at that time. You can start small. If it's going to be close, the target should be smaller. The closer it is to you, the smaller the target. The further away, you can increase it. Doesn't matter. If you can make targets from Home Depot, like I said, you can just put a pizza plate out there, a pie pan. You can hang a pod on a stick. You could do all sorts of different, you can put an empty box of paint on a stick, whatever. But the targets should be relatively small. Let's make it the size of a hopper. Let's make it the size of a head, right? So those are the types of things I would probably use.
I like 8-inch pie pans.
8-inch. Very good.
Because they make a real cool sound.
They do, and that's another beautiful thing about using that. You get instant feedback, right? You get that feedback of the impact. Bink, bink, right? That's why I like pie pans as well. So,
bink,
bink,
bink.
Oh my goodness. Had to leave it. There's a, wow,
right.
We got lots of talks in here. All right.
So this is a running and gunning drill. You're starting back center. This can be done on your own with a target. So you would set your target back here or with a partner, right? I would suggest you start on your own. So you're going to start just on the edge of the start box. You're going to pull up and shoot the target, right? Which is going to be basically head high in the can. And this bunker doesn't matter as long as it's not a Dorito. You don't want a Dorito out there if this guy's going to be shooting back at you, because you're going to get shot a whole lot.
Right.
It's much more challenging, right? So no Dorito. This can be a temple, tower, or a can.
Yeah.
So if you're doing it individually, to start the drill, you're going to stand on the edge of the start box. You're going to pull your gun up. and you're going to shoot 3 balls. You get 3 shots to get your shot right. If you hit the target, you don't move your gun and you begin your run out and you shoot the entire way out, and you're going to count the number of times you hit the target. This distance from this to this is a minimum of 41 feet. It's a minimum of 41 feet. Okay. If you have someone shooting back at you, obviously it's a lot more difficult, right? A lot more difficult. This is where you can track the time it takes you to get from here to here. You can track the number of times you hit the target, and you can track the number of times you are safe. Okay. So you have 3 different ways you can track this. This can also be done with 4 people. Just put another can out here. You got a runner on both sides. You got a shooter on both sides. Okay. You can also track the stationary person. How many times did they get shot? How many times did they shoot the runner? So you're collecting two sets of data here. Make sense?
Yep.
I would also tell you, when you first start doing this, go slow.
Yes.
Go slow and speed up a little more as you become more successful until you're sprinting full speed. Mike, you and I talked about this in the green room. What's really important, if I'm running to the right and shooting back across my body, what are some fundamental things that, like, what should my body look like? Where should my gun be?
So your biomechanics here to be faster. Anytime I'm running somewhere, I don't want to cross ankles. So my chest or my belly button should be squared with where I'm heading. So if my belly button's pointing to that can in the corner, that's where my hips and my shoulders should be facing, meaning my gun is cross body.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm squared
up. Why
up.
don't I want my chest pointed that way?
Because now you're going to start crossing your legs. You're not going to be as fast, and you're going to be a bigger target.
So where my chest goes, my hips go, right?
100%.
If I turn this way, my hips, even if I feel like they're still kind of going that way, they want to turn, right?
Yes. And what's going to happen is, and we didn't get to talk about this in the green room, but there's a point of what is called a point of no return. As we're coming across our body, there eventually gets to a point where you should naturally stop. Now, you and I may not agree on this, but I feel like once I get to a certain, maybe a 20, 30 degree past that rotation, I probably need to wave off, and I need to be starting my slide, my hip, whatever I got to do to get into the bunker. Because, and I call it the point of no return at the drills, at the clinics I run, because there's a certain point where you're just not, now you're just being inefficient by turning your body too much, and you're starting to drag your hips, and it might even drag you offline, right? If you're starting to turn your hips a little bit, you might start to turn into the bunker, and we don't want to do that. So I think there's a certain perspective where we get to a certain point where our paint's back at our target, and eventually we wave off on it, let go, and we get into our dive or our slide, or we bring our gun in, cut off the top of the bunker, and get on our zone and get on the straights, whatever we need to do.
Can I tell you why this is 41 feet?
Yes.
Because of that. I made it 41 feet. So based on the way we measured it, 41 feet is about the angle right up into the point where your shoulder is going to want to turn.
Look at you doing the math. I love that. And it's like you and I were talking about earlier, like on the cross field from shooting, when we get into the laning zone, we'll talk about, what is it, 135, 137 feet, 142, all these different things. We're going to get all that for you, ladies and gentlemen. So hang in there. But I love this.
What else is really important though? Like, as I'm running to the right, where should my eyes be tracking across back to my target?
And that's something else I talk to people about quite often. Even if we're not running and gunning, even if we're just digging to get somewhere, my eyes should be downfield. My eyes should always be downfield. They don't need to be where I'm heading. I should already know where I'm heading, and I should have a clear path that way. And if you've set up some kind of breakout to where you don't, or there's some kind of different route where it's not a straight line, then maybe. But long story short, your eyes should always be downfield, looking at either your target or your zone.
Yep. So where I was getting at is where I'm aiming. Like, let's say I pull up and I shoot the target from the back center, and then I start my run out. Should I still be aiming at the target on the run?
No. I feel that, and this is me, right, wrong, or indifferent,
I got to
feel
aim
like,
further which
right.
direction.
My point of aim now shifts. So if I'm moving right, my point of aim moves along to the 9 o'clock spot. If you've got a clock, I'm going to move to the 9 o'clock zone, right? Because I've got to account for the travel, the ball, and when it leaves the barrel and where my point of aim is at that point when the ball left the barrel.
Yeah. So if I'm really fast, my shot's really good. I'm really aiming about the middle of the bunker. If I'm full speed, my shot is about the middle of the bunker. To be clear, I'm not that fast, right?
Yeah.
I'm probably going to be more like 12 to 15 inches to the left of the target if I'm running out to the right.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
Okay.
Sounds
We
perfect.
saw it a million times this weekend. We did this drill at the clinic. There's something similar to this drill. People are 4 feet, 3 feet the wrong direction.
Right.
Because they're not tracking back across their body.
I
Another
think that's
big
what's
point
great
of-
about the beginning of your drill, right? Is you come up and you have to shoot the target first, and that's your point. And now I don't move from that.
I'm level.
I'm level now. So I've got my point of aim. So now all I've got to do is I'm just moving horizontally, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to raise it slightly as you get out, right? You just have to raise it slightly. But honestly, it's not even so much that you feet, because when your paint's coming out, height is not an issue, right? You can kind of pick the height right, pick it up as you're going. It's really about the left to right as you're running, right?
I had to put this on there because the comic relief from Joey DiPolito of Bear Ridge. I used to think I was good at paintball until one day Michael Bianca told me to run and gun at a target, and then proceeded to say that I was so bad he couldn't tell if I was being serious or trolling him. From that day on, I incorporated drills. That's not how that went down.
And I'll tell you, brother, like Joey, that happens all the time,
Yeah.
right? Like when guys start doing, when they start doing intentional drills where you can really expose weakness, it happens all the time, right? There's even at the pro level, like guys think they're really good at a skill, and then they do something that really exposes that they're not, right? And then they have to kind of check the ego and realize, like, oh gosh, this is something I really need to focus on. And running, again, running and gunning is such an important skill that nobody, I think we probably do now, spends enough time doing it.
I think everyone needs to realize how important that skill set is. No one does it perfect. No one does it excellent all the time. And it is a perishable skill set. With the difference, we can sit there and run and gun on our target all the time, but ultimately, right, with the different layouts, that's going to change our course of action. So these are things that we do need to look at, layout specific, not just the drill itself, but layout specific as well. I wanted to back up from you because you did such a good job explaining this drill. I'm foundational, right? So this is an intense drill that Ryan's got, and it's perfect. One of the small wins static target drills I do is I'll put a single target out in the middle of wherever, right? And I'll pick 20 feet and I'll sit there and say, okay, you're going to run from this point, and I'll put cones out, or we'll use bunkers. It doesn't matter. You're going to run from this point. Maybe I start them in a bunker and they have to snap the target first before they can launch. Some green light move. They launch across and they run across, and their goal is to either rope the target the whole time they're going, or they can one ball it while they're running. It doesn't matter. I always start them slow. Walk it first, one ball it, bink, 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 bink. Give me 2 reps of that. Now let's speed up a little bit. Now we're jogging and getting a little bit more paint on target. Now we're at full sprint. And so we build. And what I like to do is when we see that success rate where I'm at least 80% impacts at that range, pros should be much higher at that, at like a 25 to 30 foot, especially on a 10-inch target, what have you. But once we're at that point, now what do I do? What do you think I do next? Once they've got that success,
move the target back.
Move the target back, right? So it eventually gets to the point where you move that target back another 10 feet, and we do it again, repeat it. Eventually you get to the point where you're doing the drill similar to what Ryan's running, and that confidence is going to build. I call it small wins because I want you to get confident and competent with this first aspect. Hey, yes, I can hit this target running. Okay, yes, I can hit that target. It's a little bit further away while I'm running. I've got a pretty high percentage on that. So we're building that small wins. We're building that confidence, and then we can get a little bit more advanced from there.
Yeah, and I think that's what Paul is saying here. You should have a primary, secondary, and tertiary. I don't know if you're building off of what I was showing or what Mike's talking about now, but I disagree. I think you need one target until you can hit that one target at a really high clip. You don't need to add multiple targets. Now, that one target that I'm talking about can be moved, which I'm going to show you in a second. It can be moved, but I wouldn't have multiple targets until I can hit one target at a really high level.
Right. And that's what I was going to say to Paul as well, is we will get into more advanced drills that do involve multiple targets. I appreciate where you're taking it. You're a little ahead of us though, Paul. Hang in there. We're getting there.
Yeah. And I would tell you, Paul, if you can do this drill and I think what's appropriate at 41 feet, it should take you somewhere around, if you're really fast, it'll take you around about 2.8 seconds to go from start to finish. If you, in that 2.8 seconds, you're going to shoot about 30 paintballs. If you can hit the target 10 times in that run, then you should add a second target.
Yeah.
But I would be willing to bet a lot of money that you can.
Yeah. It's a difficult ask. But that is fantastic. If you're hitting that target 10 times in 2.8 seconds, that's fantastic. That's incredible. That's deadly. That's perfect paint to bore match. That's perfect heart rate measurement and with your running gait. So that's awesome. Do
you know what our KPI is for this drill?
It's going to scare the hell out of me, I'm sure.
It's 30%.
I knew it. That's impressive.
30%.
That's impressive. Yeah. So,
and that's the starting KPI. It's
right.
Like our plan right now is 30%. Yeah. That's the plan. Like, it's wild.
Yeah.
But we're getting there. It's getting better and better.
That's right.
Getting better and better. I love that drill, Mike.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good one.
By the way, I did want to add, and I'm my apologies for this, but I did want to add to the quadrant drill. There's another aspect that you can adapt it. I wanted to throw this in there because this is a skill set that a lot of teams or players need to incorporate as well. Instead of just snapping on, matter of fact, this might go to Paul's point actually a little bit. So in the quadrant drill, we have a single target and we're snapping out and hitting this target. But you can also do what is called the snap and wrap drill with the quadrant, right? So that adds a second target and it can be to the left and right of the first target. So I'll come out, I'll snap that target, and then I'll snap it and wrap and shoot the second target. So snap target, wrap target, snap target, wrap target, and then do it on the left and right, both sides. So just something to throw in there for a different perspective.
I love that. And we have one like that where we tell they have to wait until they're prompted. So they'll get into their process, right? Where they're da, 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 and then we say wrap and they have to go da, 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 bop, and they only get one shot.
And that
they have to be prompted.
That makes sense because think about it. If you have a code, right, for, hey, so-and-so's blah, 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 and you know that you're safe on that wrap and you've got your dominance and you can take the shot now, boom, I love it. And just a little small case, a lot of the teams that I coach, we've been talking about 8-inch and 10-inch targets. At one time, I had teams literally shooting at 3- and 4-inch targets, right? So aim small, miss small. And we'll talk about that a little bit later as well.
Yeah, those guys probably are in somewhere around New Orleans.
That's correct.
Yeah, I want to answer this really quick. So Joey Konopinski says, is there punishment for fail drills on the Russians? No, there's no I mean, the punishment is if you aren't A1, A2 in our ranking system, you don't get to play.
Explain that ranking system real quick so people
understand. I'm not real comfortable. We just rank players from A1 to E2. Yeah, I get, if you want to know more about that, you can go back and watch the episode we had with Kirill. He explains it, but A1 is the highest and then E2 is the lowest. And that's all based on people, on the player. So every week we do 3 tests, 3 tests every week. One is a physical fitness test that happens on Tuesday morning. And then we train on Tuesday. Then there's a test on Wednesday. Then we train after the test on Wednesday. Then we test on Thursday. So there's 3 tests every week. One of them is a physical fitness test. Joey, you asked me, Joey DiPolito, you asked on our Instagram about, some of the training things that we do, like physical fitness wise. One of the big tests that we do is a 75-foot shuttle run, and they have to do it 12 times. So you go up and back is 2. They go 12 times, and you have to be able to do it less than 60 seconds. And then you get 3 minutes of rest, and you have to do it again, and you cannot increase by more. Your time can't increase by more than 10%. Or sorry, by 10% or more. So if I run a 60-second, my next score cannot be 106 or higher.
That's incredible. That's fantastic.
And then they get 3 minutes of rest, and they do it again. And the same rule applies. You cannot go above 10%.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome.
And they do that every Tuesday.
Tonight, guys. I'm learning a lot.
They do that every Tuesday. So it's gnarly.
Yes, 100%. Man. 12.
And we do have like a full, so like we train from 9:30 to noon during the week, or like during the day. And then we go to the gym at 3:00. So like we do field stuff during the day, and then we go to the gym for at least an hour. If I'm there, it's an hour and a half in the afternoon. It is. And yes, Joey, it's intense. It's very intense.
So now you've got me fascinated, because is there a dietary plan as well?
I mean, they have we have a nutritionist who provides like, hey, make sure you're getting this much protein and this much water. And especially in Florida, like I was in Florida last week, and it was cooler than 2 weeks ago, but bro, it's still gnarly. Like you're sweating all day. I was drinking 2 like salty drinks a day.
Nice. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Brutal.
Well, let's see. We've each done what? You had the run and gun. I had the quadrant drill.
So I'm going to just give a layer on the run and gun. Yeah. So this is like step 2, right? Step 2, if we get to the point, and maybe Paul, this is kind of what you were talking about. If we get through step 2, through step 1, where we're hitting this thing at whatever our KPI is, right? We feel like we're ready to add another layer. Now we're going to make this guy mobile. So now we're running and gunning on both. We're running and gunning out, and we're running and gunning up. Okay. So our guy running out, shooting back at this, and our guy running up, shooting back at this.
It's so important working a run and gun forward. It's most people think that you should only work your run and gun left or right. Running and gunning forward is so important, especially just look at Cincinnati. So important to be able to get that gun in play.
Yeah. So this is just another layer. Once you get this part down and you feel really comfortable there, and again, because you're hitting it. If there's a guy back here, I will tell you, a shooter, because they'll move, right? They'll be on the roll, go away when a good ball comes in. You're not going to shoot them a ton. That's where the safety becomes really, really important. So if I tell you in this 41 feet, if you can make it safe half of the time, you are disrupting this shot. If this guy's good, I want to be clear about that. Mm-hmm. If this guy's a good shooter, like when you do this drill, you want to run against your best shooter. Whoever the best guy on your team is that shoots off the break, that's who you want to run against. And if you make it half the time, there's no other bunkers on the field. Nothing. It's 3 bunkers. That's it. No, nothing. You're completely exposed on the run. That means you're disrupting this guy a lot, right? If you make it half the time, that's really, really good.
That's really good.
Really good.
Goodness gracious. Yep. I love it.
So this is the second layer, right? We go up, we're shooting. That guy's going out, shooting back at us. Okay.
Love it. You're not going to pull a third layer out on us, are you?
No.
Okay.
Well, there is.
Terrify me. I was like,
there is kind of a third layer that I'm going to show in a second, but it's not this running gun.
Right. Okay. All right. Good deal. Good deal. Something else I put up for my list was drilling first shots. Right. And one of the things I like to do, because this drill not only works your first shot accuracy, your running gunning, but it also your hand-eye coordination, but it also works your cardio. Right. Now I'm a firm believer that you should be doing your cardio and all of that outside the field. So when we're at the field running drills and doing all these different things, right, you should come correct, because we're going to do things like this, right, that require you to keep, I love the fact that you guys keep your heart rate up, though. That's fascinating to me, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But
keep in mind, we train for 2 to 2.5 hours.
I love it. But one of the drills, now, some people think of this when I use this term, they think of something else. They think of birthday parties where a guy runs around and everybody shoots him. It's not what I call it, the gauntlet. And what the gauntlet is, imagine a pipe run, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a target at the far end of the field. And you can incorporate a laning aspect into this as well. That's why I'd put a target at the far end of the field. So you pull up and you have to lane that first target, then you launch into your run and you're running forward and you're going to find a target. It's going to be usually a blind target behind a bunker. And you have to put your first 3 on him. Then you're going to gun switch and you're going to find your next target, which is hidden somewhere. And you got to put your first 3 on then again and again, minimum of 4 targets. So four hand switches on the run. Okay. This is just a basic cardio run where, and I always start slow. Hey, if you have to walk it, that's fine. But I need at least 2 to 3 balls on every target. And what you'll find is a lot of guys, they miss those first couple of shots. So they swing back. And when they swing back, now they're thrown off when they're coming back to try and get on target for the next one. The beauty of this is to teach you to get that first ball, that hand-eye coordination, that target acquisition, boom. And what's the most key component when running this drill? That's right. The gun is on our nose. It does not come down or swing between targets. Where we are looking is where our muzzle is pointing, right? So if I shoot this guy and I immediately see him and I already know my barrel's pointing at there because it's pointing where I'm looking and I see the target, my first 2 to 3 should be on. Boom, boom, boom. Meaning now I don't want to drop my gun because I've just smoked this guy. I got to find the next one. So I transition, keeping the gun level across transition from shoulder to shoulder. And now guess what? I've set up to find the next target and be on point.
So I shouldn't take my gun if I'm this way. I shouldn't take my gun and take it down and then go like that.
You should not. No, you should not.
What happens when I do that?
Well, 2 things. A couple of different things happen there. One, it can throw you off from a perspective of, hey, right, my run on my sprint might throw you off on that way. But number 2, now I've got to find my point of aim again. I'm resetting my point of aim and I'm bringing it up. So now instead of just having one transition level change across horizontally to find my target acquisition, now I've changed all sorts of the axis. Now I've got to bring it back up into my other hand. I've got to bring it up as well as find my point of aim and reposition myself. I'm losing time. I'm not being efficient. And I'm probably not going to be as accurate.
Yeah, Rob G says you become the target. He's exactly right. Right. What happens a lot of times, you know, we'll take the first one and then you see a guy drop to pull up and shoot the next one. And that guy recognizes he's in space. And while the runner is trying to find the spot, he gets shot.
Yep.
You know what usually happens right after that?
A flag.
Red flags go in the air. That's exactly right. Because this guy goes ahead and pulls the trigger because he's on the run, and the red flag comes up. Right.
The other thing is, if your gun's always on your nose and I see something else move that might be a target of opportunity, boom, I'm immediately on it. If my gun's down, I'm like, oh no, that guy just went across.
Or he moves.
Or he moves.
Right? The guy moves up a spot, and if while my gun's down here, still not up, the guy moves. If I just flip hands, right? If I just flip the gun in my hands, I can be right on the target, right?
Targets of opportunity.
One of the other things I want to talk about, and I saw it a bunch this weekend, is guys have a tendency when they're running and gunning, and I wish I could put a paintball gun up here, but I can't because I'll kick us off YouTube.
That's right.
But they do this with their head while they're running and with their gun. They go like this.
Now, why do you think they're doing that?
They try to keep the gun level while their head is sideways.
Right.
Don't do that because you cover up your left eye. Your left eye should be down the left side of the marker. Your right eye should be down the right side of the marker. So when you're running and gunning, your gun should be right. Your nose should be right behind the back of the marker, and both eyes should be able to see.
That's right.
If you're running with your gun across one of your eyes, do you know it takes 2 eyes to have depth perception? You got to have them both.
That's right.
So your gun should always be whatever the angle of my head is the same thing that my marker does.
Right. The advantage of the roll over the slide in a snap.
Yeah. So if I'm sliding out snap shooting and I end up pulling the gun out over my right eye, that's not good. No. If I just roll, the gun can stay right between my eyes. So if you're doing this drill, hold yourself accountable to really good any of these running and gunning drills, hold yourself accountable to really good body position where my belly button goes, my body goes, right? And then where my head is, my marker should be in the exact same plane.
Right.
Every time. The same plane.
And something that the military does, if you've ever watched military drill where they're spinning the rifles and throwing the rifles around, okay? The number one rule is move the rifle around your body, not your body around the rifle. It's the same concept with the paintball marker. We move the marker around us, not our body around the marker. Hopefully that translates. Everyone track that one. So, but yes, so the gauntlet drill is great. It's cardio, right? And you want to get to the point where, and again, you can add KPIs to this. You can sit there and say, okay, I want to finish this. I want to have hit all targets within this amount of time. And then I can run it, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Right. And
totally.
Hopefully you're building. And as you do it more and more and more, you're just as accurate. You're not losing accuracy. And you finally get to the point where you're at top speed and you're just as accurate. That's the goal.
Yeah. So I'm going to I have a drill that's why it's funny that Mike and I didn't talk about this before we did it. But and Joey DiPolito, I'm going to answer your question about this drill. And this isn't the whole drill that we do, but this is one that I really like. And I'm just use the ESPN layout because it's a little shorter, right? So it's 130 feet instead of 150 feet. It's less about necessarily getting from end to end. It's more about just don't miss a target. When we run this as Red Legion, we have 5 targets, including a back center target that you do have to shoot off the break. Although you can begin your run shooting at that target, but you can't shoot the second target until you hit that one. In our drill, we run it at 150 feet, and you have to do it in 8 seconds, and you can't miss a target. 8 seconds, and you can't miss a target. So if you hit all the targets, but you're 10 seconds, you're like C1. Just FYI. That's how narrow it is in that one. But in this one, just starting out, you want to start by going a little slower. Again, that's why I made it 130 feet. Maybe your 10-second goal at 130 feet, okay? Maybe your 10-second goal. But you can't miss. This is only 3 targets. Can't miss any of the 3 targets and get end to end in 10 seconds on 130 feet, right? And again, film yourself. Mike said it, reiterate it, film yourself. If you find yourself dropping your marker, do it again. Do it again. Hold yourself accountable. Make sure that your eye, your head, and your marker are in the same pivot, right? If your marker's out across your eye like that, or even worse, I saw a bunch of this, where they're not even looking down the gun. They're off to the side. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. But what we're looking for, Joey, is the player's ability, how quickly they can track the target. That's one of the big things that we get from the drill. How quickly can you know where they are. How quickly can you get your eyes and your marker to the target and complete the run?
Yeah, that's right, Michael Johnson. We were just talking about that at the beginning of the segment about how it can double as a cardio workout as well. So,
yep.
I love it.
Michael's done this drill many times. He's done this drill many times.
Yeah. Well, now that's a good question. Joey asked, what are the targets made from? Any special colors or shapes you like best? I like different levels, and I'll get into that in a minute. I like to, I make my guys do it in the next drill I'm going to talk about. Different shapes, different, levels of height. So, I mean, whatever's durable, right? Something that's
all
not
of these should all of these should be at different levels.
Yep.
Like this should be, I forget. I made a bunch for Michael Johnson when he and I were working out here in Oklahoma. There's 3 different, literally I measured, I'm 5'10", so I'm the average height man. So I knelt down, measured myself from my knee. Like if I'm in a kneeling position, I measured myself. If I'm standing up and do a roll, what's my height? And that's exactly how tall I made the targets.
That's right.
But I like pie plates because I like the sound.
Right. I like pie plates. Now when he's not talking about the cheap aluminum ones. He's talking about,
No, they're MJ got them and he got the exact right ones. They're the pie plates your grandma uses that she probably had for 50 years, right?
Right.
They last a long time.
Ones. Not
don't rust.
the really thin, malleable ones, right?
No. Yeah,
So,
hard, real hard. So when it hits it, like it, I mean, you do have to, if you're good, you're having to go over and clean it off during the day, right? Because it gets so covered in paint, it just goes.
you don't hear it anymore.
Right, it goes dunk.
Yeah,
So,
it's like,
yeah, you got to clean it up.
no, I love it. So to carry on with this, so we both have a gauntlet type run, right, where we're hand switching, transitioning, target acquisition. We've got a time element. You know, we've got a certain level that we want to meet where so many hits on target in a certain aspect or what have you. Another way you can do this, and one of the drills I used to make guys run all the time, is whether it was snake side, Dorito side, I'd put 4 or 5 targets, all different sizes and all doing up and down, whatever, right? And then you run literally one side only. So it's just on one side of your body. My target's to my right. So I'm going to run the distance of the length of the field. I'm picking up these targets. I have to put paint on each target. So bap, 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 bap. Then I'm going to stop. Once everyone runs their drill, I'm going to turn around and we're going to run it back, doing the left hand now. Bap, 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 bap. So that's another way you can do it. This
is running and shooting again, right?
Running and shooting again.
There is a theme here.
There's a theme here, right? So target acquisition while running and shooting, so key. Now, the other thing you do when you do this, you might start from these targets. Let's say we're going down the snake side, or it's just the right side of the field. It doesn't matter. You may not even have a field set up, but my targets are set up at varying distances. And what I want to do is when I run that gauntlet, or I run that shooting just that one way, I'm going to do that 4 times, right? Right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. Then guess what I'm going to do now? Now I'm going to step out even further. So maybe I was 20 feet from the targets, 15 feet from the targets to begin with. Now I'm going to step out to 30 and I'm going to run it again. And then guess what I'm going to do after that? I'm going to step out another 10 and I'm going to run it again, right? So again, cardio, target acquisition, right? Steady gun platform, all these elements come into play, right? And tracking up and down on your targets, the different size targets. So,
yeah, Jay says, what are tips on gun control and accuracy? I think that's what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure that your front hand that your tank is in your shoulder, not on top. Again, I know that Keith Brown, Archie Montemayor have made the tank on top of the shoulder work for them. But I promise if you do it right, it'll be way easier for you. The tank, where that muscle is in the groove of your shoulder, that's where the tank should be. Your front hand pulls the marker into that. Your back hand, it's just like a golf swing, right? The front hand barely is really touching the club. Your front hand on a paintball marker is really what's pulling it into your body. And then the other hand, you're kind of stabilized, but that's it. I mean, you're just, that gun, your other hand is just shooting. So that's how. And accuracy is, again, keep the gun in between your eyeballs. Don't I know Andrew, I wasn't going to say it, but I'm gonna. Andrew Ormsby said, I used to close one eye. This is new for me. Yeah, don't close your eyes. That's bad. Yeah, depth perception in paintball it's a real big deal. It's a real big deal.
Yeah, so that offhand, right? That offhand is your control, the shoulder. So your 2 points of contact, 3 technically if you count your trigger hand, which is more of a palm. It's not so much steering as much as your offhand is. Just like and what something else that talks about, like what we talked about when we're running and our belly button and our square shoulders, that's going to help our platform be a little bit steadier, right? With our smoother run. If we're not crossing feet and loping, right? So we've got a smoother run and lean forward into it, right? So we want that momentum going forward with us, right? So that gun has a steadier platform. Oh, wait, what's this?
When you say long, read it.
Yeah, it says, coaches, I think for running and shooting, you want a long, uncompressed torso and bent knees to where your butt is really low. No, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I mean, if you're moving through, if you're using a bunker and you're trying to use bunkers at distance or space as a pathway or a low, right? You're trying to be low in cover, what have you, while you're transitioning and putting rounds down range, maybe, yeah. But for the most part, I think speed is the key element, right? Speed and accuracy. And
Yeah, I've
not
never
many
seen
people
a
are that
sprinter
fast with a crouch.
Yeah, I've never seen a sprinter with a low butt.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. John, I think you want to rethink that. Like your torso should be at an angle, almost like the gun is running away from you and you're trying to catch it. And your legs should be, your knees should be soft, not bent to where your butt is low, but soft. But no, you want to go full speed. You just need to be, you need to look like that, right? You need the front of your body should be angled. You know, maybe it's more like that, but your front of your body should be angled and your feet should be digging like crazy.
Right. Now, caveat to that, John, and we were talking about this in the green room. There's been clinics I've gone to where I've watched people do snapping or what have you. And there's absolutely no reason why they should have been hitting the target, but they were just spot on. Right. We use the example of Archie and et cetera with how they hold their guns, and you're not going to correct that because they've made it work for them. So John, if you're able to do that and you're accurate with it and you're fast, man, rock on. So
hang on. He says, I think low to help minimize the bounce. Now I understand what he's saying.
I see what he's saying.
Being lower, again, that's soft knees, will minimize the bounce of your gun. However, you're going to be really slow. So you are right. Like if I'm just learning how to run and gun and shoot a target, I'm probably going to start a little bit lower, right? Like maybe my knees are bent a little more. But when you want to increase your speed and really develop the skill, you don't want to be your butt low. You want your butt high, and you want your legs going as fast as possible. And again, leaning forward, again, like the gun is running away from you. But yeah, if you're just learning the skill, maybe that would help to minimize the amount of bounce. But I would challenge you, try this for me. Lean forward with your gun, like your gun is going away from you, and see how flat your barrel gets. There's a Trauma Head Sports video of Fedorov back in 2004. Go watch it and look at the angle of his body as he's running and gunning and diving into the snake. By the way, in the air diving, still shooting his gun very accurately. It is not bouncing at all. And look at the angle of his body. And I think that will help to answer the question. I know I'm a visual person. I really like to have visuals, which is why I did all this visual stuff. So go watch that video. I think it'll help you with that.
Excellent advice. The last individual one I had, again, along the same lines of this, and this might even be layout specific, right? So what I call first shots, whether it's the Dorito side or the snake side, let's use the snake as an example. We're in a God bunker, a bunker that feeds the snake. So I want to come out and I want to snap on a target, and then I want to dive into the snake. And what I'm looking for now is once I get to that first knuckle, that first position, with snake, the way they've been setting up snakes lately, could be anything, right? But my first opportunistic shot. So I want to find them. So I walk that field and say, okay, this would probably be a good shot I want to take if we're talking inside. And what I like to do is first shot, I memorize where I need to be in position to the bunker, and I pop up first shot, bam, smoke it. Before I progress down the snake, guess what I have to do? I have to come out on the wire and hit another target so that I can progress before I go to the next one. So these are just what I call first shots. What I'm doing is I'm trying to learn to dial the distance and the target acquisition from these key components or key positions. And you can do it with the Dorito. Same with the Dorito. Okay, I'm in this back bunker. I get out, I snap my bunker, I slide into the first Dorito. What are my first shots? I want to have my first paint on target there, right? And I don't move till I hit that shot. And then once again, I have to be on my wire, snap a target, and then move to the next position down the Dorito side. Did that make sense? Did I explain that? If I didn't, in the comments, let me know. Because I didn't have time to do the cool graphics like Ryan.
If I would have saw this earlier, I'd have made them for you. But I thought you said you had time with Adobe and you were going to do it.
Well, yeah, but I thought we were going to assign anyway. Never mind. I was in a meeting dealing with. Anyway.
Okay. Here's my first team drill, and it really, because this is a pet peeve.
All right, we're entering team drills now, everyone. Team drills.
Yeah, so this is a team drill. So this is a G1 dominance hold simulation with a 30-second goal, 2-on-1. So this is both sides, right? You can do you can run this at the same time. Like if it's a team drill day. If it's not, you got two buddies there, you can run it. So this is simulating that we shot the outside guy on the Dorito side, and these two players have to hold and get this guy, or this guy, can be either one, to here in 30 seconds. Okay. So it's twofold. This is a communication drill for the two of them. We're calling our kill right away. And then we immediately start talking about who has the dominance on this guy so that we can achieve this 30-second goal. We have to get here in 30 seconds. If this guy makes it out, we lose.
Wow, I love it.
Everybody understand?
Yes.
If this guy makes it, gets to leave this bunker and work his way outside, we lose. We lose. So we own all of this space. All of this space is ours. What happens a lot of times? We shoot the outside guy, and then what?
Someone fills.
We let that guy get out.
We let the guy fill.
And we all the hard work that we did to shoot that guy out, we give it right back. Okay?
Yeah.
30 seconds. Because if we get here and we're able to wrap on that, does he get to go anywhere?
No. He shouldn't.
So again, the goal starts at 30 seconds. I would tell you, you can make it shorter. You can make it shorter.
Probably. Yeah.
Yep.
Especially on that
Starts at
layout.
30 seconds. Yeah, right. This is same drill on the other side, right? Same drill. We shoot the outside snake guy. We set a guy up in the snake. We set a guy in the can. And now we have a 30-second goal to get here before he gets out.
Now, to clarify for some of you in podcast land, he's not saying, okay, there is a snake runner and we have to shoot him. He's saying this is a scenario where, hey, we shot the snake runner, right? It's already done. It's already happened. And so it's basically a 2-on-1 drill, correct, Ryan?
It's 2-on-1. That's right. So we're simulating that we've shot the outside guy, and now we're keeping our space. We're going to continue to own that space. We're not going to give it away, right? Which, again, could mean however you communicate it. It could mean the guy comes here and he wraps. Could mean this guy comes to the outside and wraps. This guy goes around him, right? However they want to communicate how they're going to do it, it doesn't matter. But if this guy just has to make it to here to win, he just has to make it to there.
I love it. I think that's fantastic. That's a great drill. It's better than the one I sent you, which is essentially a 2v2 drill. I'm a firm believer in 2v2 drills. The reason why I like these drills is because I add one caveat to it. It's not just attrition. The 2v2 drill that I run is the first team that loses a body, the other team now has to close 2 alive. And once that happens, once the first body drops, clock starts. Bam, 30 seconds on how to close smartly, aggressively, right? So now you can add different time components to it. Matter of fact, to begin with, you probably don't even need to add a time component to it because the emphasis is communication. The two closing out, they want to communicate. You want them talking. Hey, he's on me, blah, 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 blah. You know, to your point, the same thing. Hey, don't let him leave here. If we keep pressure. Keeping pressure in paintball is so important, and it's something that a lot of teams don't understand, that the way we create pressure is not always bombing the field, but it is aggressive in taking spots, right? Which forces your opponent to react to you. And that's what we're looking for because it leads to the next blow. It's like in Kempo karate, right? Or if I sit there and I smack, I throw an elbow here, right? It turns the head. Well, that leads you to this next one where it's now I've thrown a left hook, right? Which now boom, or maybe I go to the body. So what I'm doing is I'm hitting you, causing the body to react a certain way. And then I'm following up. It's the same thing in paintball. We're just doing it as a team.
Yeah. As a counter.
Yeah.
Like it. I like it.
Yeah. So communication, situational awareness, and working together. That's what 2v2s and your drill. Those things should be done every opportunity you get. Because
every team drill
right
should have an element of communication.
100%.
If you're running a team drill that doesn't have an element of communication, add one. You got to add one. Like don't do it if there's no element of communication.
Right. 100%. You're doing it wrong if you're not. And the other important aspect about this 2v2 is if you can talk to one player and you can continue to communicate to one player, you can probably do it with another one. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you can do it with 3, well, then you can probably do it with 4 or 5. You see where I'm getting? So foundational training.
Absolutely. Yeah. And really easy conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to yell at you. I don't have to scream. Right. I don't have to tell you 74 times that the guy's in the snake corner.
Right.
I just have to tell you once, right? Like that's another pet peeve that I have with divisional teams. Like the game gets slow and they keep saying where the guys are over and over and over again. I'm like, yeah, they didn't move. They didn't move. So you don't have, you can stop. They didn't move.
That's right.
So here's another communication drill. And I we talked about it with a couple of teams this week. They were like, how, we were really good off the break, and the mid game and the close were, we struggle, right? Guys start making selfish decisions and or we don't take advantage of space we've created fast enough. And how do we work on that? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, that's easy. Play with one loader and one pod. You get to break out, and then you're starting to talk about how you're going to close right away. And I mean when you're playing against a team that has all their paint. Yeah. Don't play a loader and a pod against your guys with a loader and a pod. Be at a disadvantage. Play with a loader and a pod against a team that has all their paint. Yes. If you want to pull the middle of the game out, pull it out. Mm-hmm. What the middle of the game is mostly is guys going through a stupid lane, right? Take the middle of the game out. Immediately eliminate it. And if I don't have enough paint to motor, what am I forced to do?
To improve position to get better angles to eliminate your opponent.
Yeah, so I got to tell you, hey, I want to go there. Can you help? Can you help me get there? Great. Will you let me know when you have it so I can go? Okay, great. Now I'll go and take the job back. Hey, Mike, I'm good. I'm on it. Now you can either improve your position out to me, or you can move into the middle of the field, and then I'll move up another one. Now we can protect each other.
There it is.
But we immediately have to start talking about how to close, right? I've done this with 2 different teams that I had in the off season, and both of them during the off season improved dramatically with communication. One year with in 2011 with Texas Storm, the entire off season, I would not let them play with more than one pod. That's it. One pod.
I love it. That's fantastic. I've got a new idea. I'm going to expand upon that with my own thought processes and develop some things based around that. Thank you. See, ladies and gentlemen, you come on it. I'm learning too. So I absolutely love it. I mean, and that's a good transition into the number 3 thing. I know I'll skip over 2.
Hang on one second. I want to answer John's question really quick because he asked how would comms go first, and then he said, hey, this guy's the widest. We need to lock him in. Yes, right. That's exactly what the drill is meant to do, is get your team to start talking about and understanding who the widest guy is, what space do we have available to us for 2 reasons. 1, to lock him in where he can't get out, and 2, to be able to take as much space as we can in the space that we've created, right? When I say space we created, it means we shot a guy off the break whose gun or body would have been in space, right? He's not there anymore, which means we now have the ability to play in that space without worrying about that guy, right? So we can go all the way down the snake at this point and wrap on that guy, right? Or we can go all the way down the snake on their end if we know we're in a good place to keep that guy out of the snake. Make sense?
Yeah.
He's saying, yeah, John's saying, yes. Okay, good. Yeah. That's what the drill is meant to do, is get you to understand, teams to understand, if you shoot a wide guy out, don't let the next guy go out. Do not let the next guy go out. Happens all the time.
Does.
All the time. You shoot a guy out. You do all this work to shoot a guy out, and then nobody takes advantage of it. We don't put ourselves in a place where we can lock it up. And again, it's only locking it up in time for our guy to get as far up, again, into a key position like over in this snake over here, where he can wrap and shoot the edge or come all the way into these Doritos and he just destroys the guy. But get up in the outside of the box, wrap to that guy where he can't go. Now this guy's free. I took the job. Now he's mobile. He can get up here. He can go to work.
Yeah.
So I could get out to the Dorito here, hold it. He can go around me. And then he takes the job back. Now I get mobile again. It's just getting us in the process of talking about, hey, I've got dominance on this guy. I'm going to keep it. I'm not letting him out. And me having faith in you that you're going to do that. And I go play. Right. And then I take the job back from you and I say, hey, I've got it now. Right. Infamous, lots of teams, they'll have a call like a big,
Yep.
and they'll say the bunker name. That means that's the furthest guy outside on that side of the field. I love the big.
Mhm.
I think it's really cool. We don't use it on Red Legion. We have different zones for that.
Same here.
But I think for divisional teams, big is awesome.
Yep.
Because it's one word that tells everybody on the field which guy's the widest on a side. And I think that's huge. If you say big money and that's the snake bunker on the inside of the snake, and you say big money, well, we know nobody's outside of that. That means we have all this snake space we can play in, and don't let the guy out of the money.
Yeah. John,
right?
using your codes that you just posted. Hey,
yeah,
big cobra, right?
Yeah.
There it is. 2 words. And you just let your whole team know who's the widest on the snake side. So there you go.
Yeah,
excellent questions. Excellent.
Great question.
Yeah. So yeah, I just want to throw this out there real quick. Obviously closing drills is going to go on my list. And closing drills, there's a couple of different ways to do this, whether it's a 4v2, a 5v3, it doesn't matter. But one of the things I used to do is I would sit there and say, okay, we're going to run this closing drill. Let's say it's a 4-on-2 and we're going to run it 3 times. What I do is I will time how long it takes for the 4 to win the point. And then I'll average it. And let's say that average comes out to, I don't know, just throwing a number out there, 2 minutes. And then what I'm going to do at that point is now I'm like, all right, you now have 2 minutes. That's the standard. So we're going to back it up. You now have 1:45 to win the next point. And then we're going to do that until we can consistently win it in 1:45. Then we're going to back it up another 50. You now have 1:30. Right. And it may not even be 15 seconds. It might end up being 30 seconds. I decide, you know what? 2 minutes was too long. I think this should be closing quicker. So no, we're shaving 30 off right now. You got 1:30 to do this. And then we back it up again. Now you got 1 minute. So these are different things. And what you're doing is you're finding the envelope, right? You're learning the layout. You're learning the best routes, the best pass, how to pass the ball, how to know who's got the ball, who's supposed to be on containment, all these different things, right? So all these aspects go into it, and it's important on a closing drill to sit there and work that. So you should always be working 4v2s, 5v3s, and have a time component in it eventually, because you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're down points. And let's say there's 2.5 minutes on the clock. Well, the average point's been running 1:12 maybe. You're like, well, that's cutting it kind of close, right? And then you shoot somebody off the break, or you shoot 2 buddies off the break. Well, now you know your capabilities, right? So you have an idea, you have an understanding, right? So this is the type of statistical and kind of scenario type things you should be running on off layout practices, or even not even layout practices, just standalone, practices where you're working on your comms and closing out.
Yeah, I love that. That's a good one.
Did we both have what I have down as number 2?
No.
Okay.
I did my 5. You have 6 here.
I do. Oh, well, all right. Well, then I'll close out. I won't even do the other one. But I do want,
No,
I do have some.
I think everybody knows it, but
everyone knows it, but it's important. So obviously one of them is going to be the island drill, right? The island drill is a 3v3. It's basically an extension of the 2-on-2 in regards to comms, but you've added another asset, another element, cross field comms, right? And you can do that with your 2-on-2s too. It doesn't matter. But long story short, you should know the island drill. You got a body on the snake side and he's facing 2 guys. You got a guy on the opposite team. He's on the Dorito side by himself and he's facing 2 guys. So you're cattywampus, and that drill should be run a lot. All right. Those are very, very important things. A lot. So Now, I did have some honorable mentions I wanted to throw out there. Like a lot of people have asked me over the years, hey, what are some low paint drills? Right? When I don't have a lot of paint to throw out there, but I need to work on some things. Some of my favorite low paint drills are what I call the post snap drill. This is basically a 1v1, right? And it's bunker to bunker. You set up 2 bunkers. They're a specific distance apart. Doesn't matter. One can be a Dorito, one can be an Aztec, whatever. It doesn't matter. They can be the same bunker. I don't care. But one player is posted. He is posted and he cannot go in, right? His job is to stay posted, and he can shoot randomly, do what he needs to do. And it's the other player's role to snap out and get dominance, right? And win the gunfight. So that's one way of doing it. He's just snapping one ball, what have you. You can both do it with one ball. If you're both low on paint, doesn't matter. So I like that one. Usually one side of the bunker only, but you can incorporate a side switch in there as well. And then the other one I love is the aim small, miss small, right? I like to set up those little targets. I like to sit there and move my gun, fast target acquisition on a 3 or 4 inch target, and just boom, 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 and do it at different distances, doing it between different bunkers from different positions, right? So I just like to throw those out there. Oh, and then the jousting drill. I thought I might throw that one out too, but we're already an hour and 20 in. But I love to set it up. This is not a low paint drill, by the way. I like to set it up to where those bunkers. We've had a couple of them these last 3 events where that bunker, it's a race to get to that bunker and get dominance on it first, right?
Yep.
So what I like to do is I like to set up that one-on-one where it's like, all right, everyone start, the 2 players start on the box. They race that bunker and then boom, it's on. It is a gunfight. All right. And whoever wins the gunfight, usually I'd let it go for a little while. If it's just going nonstop, then I'm like, okay, it's a draw, start over. But it should end within 10 to 15 seconds.
Yeah, and you should be dueling at every practice you're in.
Practice.
I mean,
right.
In every paintball game that happens, there's 3 to 4 duels going on at a time. So you should be dueling at every practice.
Absolutely.
Call it whatever you want, snap shooting, whatever, at each other. You should be doing. We call it duels, right? Because one-on-one. You should be dueling as much as possible.
Yeah. So love it. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a good question.
What's your take on gun switching? XYZ players going to go, and then someone has the job of switching to that cut. Yeah. Pretty important.
Here's my experience.
If you've gotten dominated and you're in a position where you can't stop them from doing something, you better have somebody, right? You better have a code or a switch for that to happen.
Here's my experience with that is you pull somebody off a different job who turns, or 3 people turn and do that, and then they come down the other side. So I would just be really careful with that. Like, I hate it when players say so-and-so is going to go. It drives me bananas. Like, you should already have a setup for that, in my opinion. Like, it's something so dangerous that if your guy gets dominated, that guy can take space that's going to really hurt you in a way that it is going to require somebody to scream, so-and-so's going to go, which, again, just drives me absolutely bananas. Then you have in my opinion, you have a setup problem.
Okay, you beat me to it. All right.
Yeah, like if something is so critical that if that guy goes, he's going to hurt us, we should probably have 2 people.
Right. I was going to say there has to be a contingency on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there's a position or a spot on the field that if we know, to your point, he's going to go, chances are your game planning should have incorporated that. And there's a contingency where there's a second body or gun that can help with that situation. So he shouldn't have to say that, or maybe there's a code, right? You could sit there and say, hey, blue, whatever. And then that tells the guy, I definitely need to start dumping the paint, what have you. Or I was going to say, so to the point, it's a setup situation. Or B, maybe a better scenario or a better question would be, hey, this guy's this guy dominating, he's going to wrap. And you have a code for your guy to throw a couple of balls that way, right? To smoke the guy on his wrap or something like that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I coached a team where a guy yelled that all the time, and my biggest problem was that he was wrong most of the time. But like he would say the guy's going to go, and it would pull a gun off of something,
And then something
and
else.
the guy didn't go, and the next guy went because he pulled that gun away, right?
Yeah.
So I just think you got to be really careful with those types of that type of because normally it's not calm. It's like screaming.
Yeah.
You know, so and so's gonna go, and then of course everybody's adrenaline goes up, and then you end up with other problems because then people make stupid mistakes. And
The other,
I just think you got to be careful.
yeah, the other caveat might be that, hey, somebody's going to go, and you've got a guy who's in a position that will be susceptible to that, and maybe it's letting him know, hey, you might want to DD or be aware of this situation. Things are about to get tight. But other than that, I agree 100% with Ryan that it sounds like it's a setup problem.
Yeah, just got to be careful. All right, we're taking questions. We'll give you guys a few more minutes. Ask some questions if you have them, and we'll answer good ones.
Yeah.
We'll answer good ones.
I love it. Oh, yeah. I got.
Oh, yeah, on fitness stuff, Joey, if you really want to talk fitness stuff with me.
He does.
Just call me. I'll give you as much fitness stuff as you want. I'll write a whole program for you.
He's going to call me for your number now. You want me to give him your number?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Cool. All right. Excellent. Well, we're going to give it another 10 seconds. And you're welcome. Absolutely. I'm glad you guys got something out of this. Thank you for the kind comments.
Yeah, and John, those are really good questions.
Those are good questions.
Yeah, really good questions. And so were the other ones about like the walking, running posture things.
Biomechanics are extremely important.
They're critical, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's it's my experience and scientific that the way we're describing it to you, how it should look is how it should look. Maybe in band, to answer kind of one of the questions that was asked, that is the way the biomechanics should work.
Right. But
going full speed in the way we're doing it, the way we're telling you is the best way to do it.
Right. I want to throw this up here real quick. This question from Eric. So Eric asked, how much time will you dedicate to those closing drills during the layout practices? Well, that depends. How well is your team closing? So I usually dedicate a significant amount. I really do. I like to try and dedicate them, whether it's at, if it's something that I know that we didn't do well at the last event or what have you, then maybe I start with them and I spend an hour or so, or I close the day. And I sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I'll do a drill at clinics or with teams or what have you, and we'll do some drills like this, and then we'll like, hey, yeah, that we made some progress there. Let's move on to these other things and come back. We might revisit it at the end of the weekend or the end of the practice and do a couple more. So it really depends on you. Really depends on what your team needs. And if closing something, I think it's an important aspect, and you should certainly be doing it every practice. Maybe not an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours. But then maybe if you guys are really struggling with it, maybe you do spend a day working on it, right? So it really depends on you and your team.
Yeah, it's what your deficiencies are, right? But I will say, from my experience watching divisional paintball, the answer is yes. You should spend a lot of time on closing drills, because kind of like the example I talked about earlier from the coach who was there this weekend with us, Gabe. He's like, we're really good off the break, but then we kind of fall apart in the mid game and at the end. If you will do, like, again, the one pod drill and then do a lot of closing drills, you'll clean a lot of that stuff up, right? The byproduct usually of really intentional practice is a better product in the performance. So test it.
Yeah.
If you spend 20 minutes more doing closing drills than you're spending right now at every practice you have, do you think you will improve? I think so.
I concur.
So. And John has asked a few different questions in here, like, hey, is there a play you should study like you do? And he used JV football and then varsity football and college football. Yeah, so because we're in such a cool sport that you get a new layout pretty random, like pretty often, like every event you go to, you get a different layout. there's not necessarily a specific play I think you should train over and over and over again, but there's certainly specific styles of plays that you should train over and over and over again. Like, again, our perspective with Red Legion is we want to have 3 attack spots all the time. Like, you'll see there's a lot of teams that play in a 2-3, which means they're going to have 2 front guys, 2 kind of mids, and 1 back guy. We don't play that way. We play 3 guys attacking and then 2 second, and we don't even call them back guys. To us, they're secondary attackers. They're just the next line of attack. So it depends on kind of the methodology in which you want to train, but I think that there are certain styles of plays that you should definitely be practicing a lot. Like, around, like, guys leapfrogging each other, I think is really important. I think that's a skill that's kind of gone away at this point, especially at the divisional level. In the pros, you really can't do it anymore because the guys are so good with their guns. But you still can kind of do it in the divisional level where you can send a guy out and throw a guy under him, or send the first guy up into a spot and then send a guy around him. You can still do those things. And I do think they're still fundamental, even though you can't really use them in the pros. You kind of can get away with it here and there, but not often.
Well, and I think that's why adaptation is so important, right? And again, Bruce Lee always taught that, styles limit you, right? So I think that's a key component, is being adaptable. To your point, yeah, you've got the 2 attackers, the 2 mids, the 1. There's the read offense approach, based off a lot of it's layout based. Specifically for me and all the brilliant minds on Dynasty, we're going to play a field based off not necessarily a style, but the way we feel that field should be played and attacked, right, with our strengths. So adaptability is really the key component, I feel, for John there. Andrew,
yeah, when I say
I gotta answer this one real quick. This is great. Andrew Ormsby, should you learn to play chess, since paintball is basically chess with guns? Playing chess taught me to think multiple moves ahead. It's not a direct comparison. Do I think chess helps you think? 100%. Do I think you should learn? I think everybody should learn how to play chess. Do I think it translates? It doesn't always.
It doesn't to me. I know how to play chess, and it doesn't translate to me. But I didn't bring that one in just because it wasn't I didn't know if it was a question.
I know. I wanted to throw that out there and saying I don't think it always translates. Right. So
yeah,
does
help
in
my brain it doesn't.
Yeah.
My brain it doesn't. Like, paintball has such interesting little nuances that are occurring, kind of every second. Right? There's all these changing variables that are occurring based on where guys are pointing guns, and new space that's being opened and taken away and redeveloped over and over and over again. That those milliseconds, and it becomes wild how much they kind of slow down, right? Like, when you're really watching everything that's occurring, it's like, oh, we had an opportunity. But this is from the sidelines, right? I know in the moment on the field, it's totally different, right? That millisecond is a fractional millisecond.
It is. That's why I think if you're going to do that, then play speed chess.
Yeah.
Right. So, because that's really more in line with the thought process. Speed, that processing speed is the key. So if you can play speed chess, you'd probably be a pretty good, read offense player in paintball. So anyway.
Hey, and if you guys have some fun drills, send them to us.
Please
send them to us on the socials. If you don't mind, put them out on a map and we can kind of talk about them and see, tell us, hey, the goal of this is this, and this, and we can help you refine and define and make sure you're getting what you need out of it.
Yeah. Matter of fact, you send us some good ones. We might even talk about it next show. Throw some love your way.
So next show, let's talk about it a little bit. We're trying to coordinate a Team USA show. We'll see how that goes. It's really complicated because there's, 5 teams, and we like to try to get the coach and the captain. So it's a little bit challenging to put it all together in the time slots and make it all work for everybody's schedule. But we're working on a Team USA kind of send-off show next week. So hopefully we can make that happen. The next week after that, I won't be here. So we'll probably not do a show on Monday, maybe do it on Thursday.
Right.
Because can't do it on Thursday either. That's the Thursday after the layout drops.
Oh yeah.
So we'll figure that out. We'll let
Yeah.
you guys know. Maybe because that's going to be a big show. Maybe we'll have to maybe do it on Tuesday night because that's our pre-show.
Yeah. That's when we bring in the real stars.
We got to bring in the
smart guys.
Fellas.
The
Yeah.
fellas, so
Have some fun.
Great.
Hopefully you guys will participate in that one. Give Skinny a hard time about his team not making the cut at the last event.
don't.
I mean, they just picked up an absolute stud. So
right.
hopefully,
Well, that whole team's a bunch of studs. So
for sure. Yeah. But maybe he'll bring some fire. You don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. So we'll see.
All right. Good show. Thanks for everyone's participation. I really enjoyed tonight. And hopefully, if we didn't explain something well, let us know. And I promise you, if you ever have us out for a clinic or what have you, I promise you we're way more in depth too.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching tonight. We appreciate your participation in the chat. Again, if you have any questions about the drills we showed, please reach out on our social media channels. You can also reach us directly at ZenWap. Is that right?
ZenWap73.
Yeah, at ZenWap73 and at Ryan Gray Coach if you have any questions. For Major League, thank you to Major League Paintball. I have not slept enough. Thank you to Major League Paintball, Major League Paintball Plus, Tom Cole, Kevin Fillers, Alex Sorensen, and Darren Cessna. For Mike Bianca, I'm Ryan Gray. As always, be responsible.